Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Thursday. Glad you're joining us. That was a good interview with the folks from the Justice League. They're going to have a car show, bringing in some of the actors from the Dukes of Hazzard, bringing in professional wrestling stars. They're going to have a car show, silent auction, 50-50 drawing. So no answer on whether we're going to play bingo or not. Didn't find out whether bingo would be offered as a situation or not. So I guess I'll check into that, see if bingo is going to be offered. Bingo played a very important part, so you would think bingo would be offered. Today is the anniversary of the 1886 gift that was dedicated to New York Harbor by President Grover Cleveland. I'm talking about the Statue of Liberty. It was dedicated October 28th, 1886. A little bit about that dedication. It all came about. People think it was just this gift given to the United States just out of the goodness of France, but it actually started out with Frederick Augustus Bartholdi. He was the creator of the sculpture that is the Statue of Liberty. He was talking with Eduardo René Laboulaye, a Frenchman who is also a staunch abolitionist. And he said that it inspired him, the conversation he had inspired Bartholdi to, because of the giving of the repressive nature of Napoleon III, because at the time they'd went back to a monarchy in France, just very shortly, less than 100 years after they'd had the revolution. He started building this thing and said that he would give it to the United States, to the Union, to show thanks for fighting against the repugnant actions of slavery, and that he wanted the monarchy of France to see by this liberty statue that was given to the United States that democracy in the United States was the way to go. Monarchies were not the way to go. And so the statue was then given to the United States. The only problem was the United States didn't have a whole lot of money to deal with it. They put it up. It was built in France. The entire thing was put together in France, then shipped over here, but there was no pedestal to put it on. So fundraising for the pedestal began in 1882. There was a committee organized. They had a large number of money-raising events. They had art auctions. Poet Emma Lazarus was asked to donate an original work. So there was a lot of things that went in. John Pulitzer, who was at the time the publisher of New York World, a New York newspaper, he raised $100,000. That's the equivalent of $2.3 million today. And so all that was done to build just a pedestal to put the Statue of Liberty on. And construction of all of this began in 1885. And so today, October 28th, 1885, was when the dedication, 1886, excuse me, I don't know why I'm saying 1885, 1886, 110 years after independence was declared in the United States, the Statue of Liberty was dedicated in New York Harbor by President Grover Cleveland. So today's a very important day for the Statue of Liberty and the story behind how it got here. You'd always heard that, the French government gave it. Well, not necessarily. It was given by a sculptor to the American people in a way to say thank you for showing that democracy works through the atrocities that was the Civil War, and afterwards that the United States was able to regain its democracy, bring itself back together, rejoin the South and the North, and continue on as the United States of America. And the sculptor wanted to make sure that the monarchy in France understood that he thought democracy is the way it was in the United States was a better system of governance governance than a monarchy was. So that happened on this date in history, October 28th, 1886. I saw this story and I went, wonder how much more of this is going to start happening. A man was fired by a hospital system, David Duvall of Michigan. He worked for Novant Health. He sued Novant Health in 2019 after he was fired as senior vice president of marketing and communications the previous year. He was terminated without cause as part of he says he was terminated without cause as a part of an intentional campaign to promote diversity in its management ranks, and that he was fired due to his sex and gender. That's what he sued over. And a jury agreed with him. He was fired 2 days before his 5th year anniversary with the company. 5th year anniversary is very important because on the 5th year anniversary, his severance package would have almost tripled if they fired him. So they fired him 2 days before his severance package was supposed to triple. Well, he took him to court. He said he was fired shortly before his 5th anniversary and was replaced by an African-American woman and a white woman. He argued discrimination in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. His attorney told NBC News that the former executive was fired days before his 5th anniversary when he was entitled to a severance about 3 times the size of what his normal severance was. He said, the message here is not to abandon diversity and inclusion, it's to do it legally. A federal jury trial was held. The verdict was handed down Tuesday. The verdict awarded Duvall. The jury found that Duvall's race or sex was a motivating factor in the termination, according to online federal court records, and they awarded him $10 million. Of course, David Duvall is a white gentleman, and he claimed that his civil rights were violated, and a jury of his peers agreed with him and awarded him $10 million. Novant Health, which is based in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, of course, is planning to appeal that verdict, and they say they're very disappointed with the verdict and that the jury did not see the facts the way that they were presented and didn't come up with the verdict that was probably the right verdict according to Novant Health. But here's a man who sued his company, and he said he was fired because he was white and male. He was replaced by an African-American woman and a white woman. And he took it to trial, and the jury agreed with him that he was terminated wrongly and that the reason for his termination was his sex and or gender. How many more of these cases are going to happen? Discrimination is discrimination, folks. No matter what your skin color is, no matter what your gender is. Discrimination is discrimination. And a jury in North Carolina says this man was discriminated against. The Title VII of the Civil Rights Act that was violated in how he was fired without cause 2 days before his 5th anniversary. I don't know all the facts of the case, but I do know the jury awarded him, after they heard the facts of the case, $10 million for his civil rights being violated by Novant Health, according to a jury in North Carolina. We'll take a break, come back, wrap